beyond the bio. Why is online dating so difficult to find an authentic connection? Well, there's a myriad of reasons why this could be happening, but it's not uncommon. And I'm going to kind of break it down as to why you are struggling on a dating app. It's known I am not a fan, but it goes a little deeper than that. It goes beyond that. I hate to see people get their hopes up and put all their eggs in one basket only to be disappointed repetitively. And this is what happens on dating apps. And there's a lot of reasons why it could be happening to you. If it's a self-esteem issue or if it's, something personal, maybe. But the odds are so stacked against you to begin with, because this is a billion-dollar industry. And they don't want you to find somebody. That's the truth. Because if you find somebody, then you're not going to be on their app anymore. Well, I hope. That's the common consensus. I worked on Wall Street, so I'm very familiar with how this game is played and how, these companies, air quotes, want to keep their shareholders happy. Because the shareholders, I'm telling you, those are some ruthless people, okay? And they get mighty upset if they're not making money. So, they want to keep you there. They want to keep you coming back. And you become addicted to the scrolling, and with that little bit of hope, even though deep down you probably know that it's not really going to happen, you keep doing it anyway, just with that little glimmer of hope. And that's what they want. They prey on that. And that's what infuriates me, is, it's legalized, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But I want to tell you that you're not alone. The odds are, and, I broke it down in this video, but, about 50% of the profiles are fake. And that's what they admit to. There's no way to actually prove that. But let's do the math. If 50% of the profiles are fake, and there's a ratio of men to women 3-to-1, you don't have to be a mathematician to know that those are not good odds. Not at all. That's not to say it will never happen. Anything's possible. But the odds are stacked against you. Number one. Right out of the gate, odds are stacked against you. And then you have the fake profiles. And they do their level best to convince you that they're not fake, but we all know. I hope you know. If you're on the dating app, I hope you know how to spot a fake, profile. But anyway, do not allow this to affect you and your, self-esteem and your self-worth, because this is a business. These are publicly traded companies. Now, keep in mind, most of them are not independently publicly traded, but they belong to a group. So if you go research it, and I've done it, if you go research one company, it's a made-up company, it's like a shell company, and I used to work with shell companies, so I know all about how the game is played. But they get a shell, a public shell, and then they put all these things inside of it, all these little dating apps, and they make a lot of money. They get high IPOs and stuff, and they make a lot of money just from having them, because people invest in it, because everybody knows that dating apps are a billion-dollar industry. So their whole purpose, if you're creating a company, a shell, to house, multiple apps under the same, using the same thing, that's a pattern. And that's people need to pay attention to this stuff, because why would you believe for 1 second that company sincerely wants to help you find someone to date. They don't. And that's the truth. And, if you connect all those dots, like I said, most of the dating apps belong to a larger corporation, which the corporation is basically a made-up company for the shell. And that's what's publicly traded. Simple math. Simple math. That's how it works. So, and you can go research it. You can go research all the dating apps and find out who owns them. And you'll see that a lot of the dating apps, well, most of them are clumped together. So they're like under, the shell company. And that's the corporation. But it's not really a corporation. I mean, it is on paper, but it's not a bunch of people who sincerely want to help you find somebody to date. So keep that in mind, and do not allow this to stop you from searching for your right person. Because love is beautiful. It can be. But make sure that you're not just utilizing dating apps only. And that's not your only resource, because if it is, well, you're probably not going to find a suitable person to date. That's the sad reality. The odds are stacked against you right out of the gate, and then you have they want to keep feeding you little crumbs so you'll keep coming back with that little glimmer of hope. It's a vicious cycle. But don't allow it to diminish your self-worth and your self-portrait, because it's not worth it. And you're better than that. So keep these things in mind. I'm telling you the truth. You can go research it. You can go research public companies and find out who owns which of the dating apps. But they're all in little groups. It's really cute. But that's what it is. It's a money-making business, That's what they're out for. And publicly traded companies are different animals than a regular company. I know this firsthand. I worked with one, and I was amazed at, wow. So anyway, I want to see you succeed and find your right person, but don't get down on it if you can't find somebody on these dating apps. The odds are stacked against you. It's like a bad bet, So be mindful of that, and don't spend too much time scrolling endlessly, because then it becomes habitual, and then you kind of lose touch with the outside world where there's real people to meet and real people to get to know. Good luck.